Somewhere in North Carolina right now, campaign teams are watching polling numbers, refreshing donation trackers, and pushing last-minute messages telling voters who is winning, who has momentum, and who everyone else is supporting. But here's the question almost nobody in politics wants to ask. What happens when the voters they are trying hardest to convince are the ones least interested in following the crowd? Election day is here, and a growing number of Americans are no longer identifying as Republican or Democrat. They are choosing something else entirely. Not apathy, not confusion, independence. And that changes everything. Because you cannot pressure independent thinkers. You cannot script authenticity. And you cannot market trust to voters who already decided they want leaders, not sales pitches. As North Carolina heads to the polls, the real story may not be which party wins. It may be whether candidates finally understand the voters who refuse to belong to either one. Welcome back to Go Right with Peter Boykin. I'm your Constitutionalist for Liberty, where we step back from the political noise and talk about what is happening in our constitutional republic and why it matters to everyday Americans. With Election Day in North Carolina now upon us, there is something both political parties still struggle to understand, and honestly, it may be one of the biggest blind spots in modern politics: the unaffiliated voter. Unaffiliated voters are not confused voters. They are not disengaged voters. They are not waiting for a party to tell them what to think. They are unaffiliated because they made a conscious decision to step outside the political boxes campaigns rely on. They're tired of being marketed to. They're tired of scripted outreach. They're tired of being analyzed like consumer data instead of treated like independent citizens capable of making their own decisions. Every election cycle follows the same formula. Campaigns roll out polling numbers, fundraising totals, endorsements, and momentum narratives. Candidates proudly announce they are leading as if popularity alone should earn trust. But for many unaffiliated voters, those talking points are not persuasive. They are a turnoff. If someone registers unaffiliated, it actually usually means they have already rejected the idea of following the crowd. So when campaigns try to convince them by saying everyone else supports a candidate, it creates skepticism instead of confidence. It signals conformity instead of leadership. And that exposes a deeper issue within modern politics. Our system increasingly treats voters as groups to be managed, rather than individuals to be respected. Messaging is built for demographics and voting blocs, while the sovereignty of the individual voter gets lost somewhere along the way. Many voters walk into the ballot box feeling like they are choosing between carefully packaged candidates who sound independent during campaigns, but ultimately govern with rigid party expectations once elected. Different branding, same script. The truth is simple. Even if campaigns do not like hearing it, there is no magic strategy to win over unaffiliated voters. No slogan, no consultant playbook, no perfectly targeted advertisement. Authenticity matters more than marketing. Competence matters more than charisma. And honesty matters more than party labels. Many unaffiliated voters may lean conservative on policy issues, but that does not automatically translate into loyalty to any Republican candidate. Labels alone no longer guarantee trust. Every candidate has to earn it individually. At its best, a conservative message has always been rooted in service. Service in communities, regardless of affiliation. Service focused on solving real problems instead of dividing people into ideological factions for political advantage. When candidates focus on genuine connection instead of buzzwords, something changes. They reach Republicans, independents, unaffiliated, and even voters willing to cross party lines because they feel heard rather than managed. Real coalitions are built through presence, not performance. They come from showing up consistently, listening to understand real concerns, and offering solutions grounded in reality instead of speeches written to satisfy consultants. Yet, across the political landscape, many voters now look at ballots filled with candidates who feel safe, predictable, and manufactured. The energy once driven by strong leadership and independent thinking often feels replaced by cautious messaging and status quo politics. People are not disengaged because they do not care. They are disengaged because they want better. They want leaders who actually connect with their communities. Leaders who show up after the election, not just before it. Leaders who understand that representation is not a title, it is a responsibility. As North Carolina heads to the polls, the lesson for every candidate should be clear. You cannot pressure independent voters into support. You cannot poll your way into authenticity. And you cannot build trust through political theater. The unaffiliated voter represents something powerful in American politics. The refusal to be automatically categorized. The insistence on thinking independently. And the belief that citizenship means more than party loyalty. Election day is not just about choosing candidates. It is about reaffirming that individual voices still matter in this constitutional republic. Because in the end, the voters who think for themselves may be the ones who decide where the country goes next. This is Go Right with Peter Boykin. I'm your constitutionalist for liberty. In a world full of political noise, remember this: you do not have to follow the crowd to shape the future. Independent minds change elections, and informed citizens change history. The parties compete for power, but the Constitution gives power to you. Government answers to the people, not the other way around. So stay informed, stay engaged, stay free, vote smart, stand for your rights, and never surrender your voice to political convenience. Freedom does not belong to parties. It belongs to people willing to defend it. Together, we can keep this constitutional republic moving in the right direction. I need you to follow, share, and support the movement at GoRightNews.com and PeterBoykin.com. Again, this is Go Right with Peter Boykin, and together, let's